and welcome to the debate. I'm your host Sana Maqbool with you once again at BTV World, and as always in the debate we bring you top stories from around the world and also within Pakistan and try to give you a complete picture of everything that's going on. For our show today we have two very interesting topics. The first of which is something that we've discussed in a previous show as well. Who will be the next Chief of Defence Staff of India? This is the big question since we saw the helicopter crash of General Bipin Rawat and he lost his life. And since then, this has been something that is being discussed, something that's been consulted both within India and outside and spoken about. Many speculations exist. There are lots of names coming up as to who is going to be the next CDS. But of course, a lot more questions also remain besides the fact that who it's going to be. What really are the factors in choosing who the next CDS is going to be? What sort of factors are going to be taken into account in terms of seniority, in terms of who's going to be more in line with the current regime in India. And then, of course, what is really the selection process, the criteria, what sort of requirements currently exist, what sort of rules and procedures are there, because this, of course, will be the first time that such a situation is going to exist and take place. So a lot of those concerns and speculations are what we're going to be discussing in the show today and try and figure out with our experts in the studio and online as well who it is that is going to be the next person in line for this position. And besides that, we're going to be talking about something we also spoke about yesterday, the mini budget that is now currently being discussed in the National Assembly as we speak. There was a lot of ruckus from the opposition, of course, as expected with regards to this bill, but whether or not it's going to be passed in the National Assembly is the big question, and hopefully you will be able to know that soon enough. But of course, the kind of concerns that there are that still exist, the kinds of uncertainty that is surrounding the government and the political scenario in Pakistan currently, and then of course with specific reference to the bill is going to be discussed, and then the opposition's claims of an in-house change of moving towards a no confidence motion, whether or not they're going to be exercising this now or in a post state after the passing of the bills. This is something that we'll also explore in further detail and try and understand the political scenario that is going on currently and the expected political scenario in the coming months. For these two segments, we have with us in the studio, of course, Mr. Farrukh Patafi and Mr. Raja Faisal as usual. And then online, we've also been joined by regulars on our show. We've been joined by Mr. Fahad Masood, who's an international security analyst, and Mr. Rohit Sharma, who's an Indian journalist. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being with us on the show today. Before I move on to our respected guests online, Faisal, I want you to give us an overview of what the situation is surrounding the decision of who the next CDS will be and what are the big names that are coming up.
Sana, as we have been talking about consecutively, I mean, I think 7 times or 6 times we have talked about these things. The very important post which was vacated with the demise of General Bipin Rawat, that was of CDS, and right now General Narwane, who happens to be Chief of Army Staff of Indian Army, he is holding the key things in his hand of the CDS as well. He does not want to be CDS because the sources say that he thinks that after he had the Chief of Army Staff, he believes that the post of CDS is a political post and he does not want to go towards that. So there are 2 options right now. There are 2 equations, I must say. Number one is that if Narwane becomes CDS, then of course the 2 generals next to him, I'm talking about General Mohanty and General Joshi, both of them, they will be getting retired. And then the third one, the one we have been talking again and again about, is Lieutenant General Pandey. But at the same time, we need to know that he hails from Engineers Corps, and there are analysts who speak of this as well, that he having Eastern Command was a blunder itself. But there are analysts who believe that he was given the Eastern Command for only one reason, that is that they wanted to have infrastructure built in the Eastern Command to counter the Chinese threat. That's why they had him there. But there are other analysts who believe, and sources as well, that he hails from a very important city, Nagpur. Why Nagpur? Because Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh hails from Nagpur, and he was
That's
born
what
in
is it.
Nagpur. And now there is a large number of analysts, they believe that he, along with his family, they have been part of RSS since the day one, and now when he's Lieutenant General, he's been getting constantly favors. And we know for the fact that in recent times, of course, lots of things happened in Eastern Command under his nose while he was commanding there, and nobody said anything to him. This shows that he is constantly getting favors. To me, the first equation, Nirwane becomes CDS and he becomes Chief of Army Staff. But the other equation is that General Mohanty, who happens to be Vice Chief of Army Staff right now, he is declared as the next CDS, and right under him we have General Joshi. He might be, he's commanding, he hails from J&K Rifles, and he might be considered for Chief of Army Staff. In that way, of course, as in one of the earlier programs,
Right.
Farooq rightly mentioned that we have been, jinxing around, and he will be jinxed.
All right, well, that remains to be seen. But Rohit, in your expert opinion, who's going to be becoming the next CDS and why? Who do you think?
Firstly, thanks to my friend Faraja Faisal, who has given me a wonderful angle that army chief is decided from Nagpur. This is the first time I've heard it, because Modi is the prime minister, and prime minister actually they try and link everything to Nagpur. We had three army chiefs since then. One was Dalbir Singh Suhag. I don't know whether he visited Nagpur or not, but I don't know. I'll call him up and tell him to visit Nagpur. Bipin Rawat, never connected to Nagpur, and MM Narwane. He comes from Maharashtra, but not from Nagpur. Now, coming back to this, who can be the next CDS? Now, CDS is not the chief of the three services. This particular post is there for strategic commands, for planning, strategy planning, and for future planning. So what they're trying to do is they're already General Narwane is working as the caretaker CDS, and he's going to retire very soon in April this year. So maybe he's going to take over as the next CDS, and this post, if it is vacant, doesn't matter so much, because General Narwane is taking care of both the seats, so there's no such problem.
Mr. Fahad, when we speak about the kind of situation that India currently is with the choice of CDS, and what Rohit is now saying with what the post entails, does this mean that because this post does not even have any operational obligations at the moment, or it is just a strategic post, that there is really no rush to choose the CDS right now? And the fact is, then what really is the role of CDS in the first place?
Well, it is more to do with a strategic thought. As correctly mentioned before, all said and done, we need to have clarity what kind of an individual or a professional can take that slot. One, ideological connect with the present regime in India. That is the first and foremost thing, other than the competency, skill set, and the merit that they want to generate. But for the present CDS to take over, he or the individual has to be aligned with the RSS thought, which needs to be a saber rattler one, which needs to have clarity of alignment with the theology. And we need to understand this. It is, yes, there is no clear demarcated methodology as yet, but first time, there's a first time for everything. So this time will be the method that will be followed. The importance is there because the transition has already started with regard to theater commands, which ensures synergistic effect of the Army, Air Force, and the Navy. So if they want this momentum to continue and not to waver, the post has to be filled up as quickly as possible. So that is important, and there is no other two ways around it.
All right, Farooq, an important aspect in the decision of CDS is the issue of seniority and whether or not this tradition is going to be let go in the choice of who the next CDS is going to be. Is this something that that can actually be bypassed, as was the case when even Bipin Rawat was selected?
Right. Bipin Rawat was, when he was promoted to the army chief, they actually overlooked the seniority principle. But that doesn't mean that when he was promoted to CDS, at that time that happened also, because at that time, if I recall it correctly, he was the senior most officer serving. But what happens, Sanai, is that a journal officer, a 4-star journal, is supposed to retire at the age of 62. And General Nirvane right now, I'm told, is 61. So he still has 1 more year to go. But at that time, because Modi ji actually needed control over armed forces. A fascist always actually fears its own victim, his own victim, and the forces were going to be victims because he is about to change the very character of Indian Army, which has been traditionally very strongly secular force. They have been opening RSS centers or mandirs, for that matter, in every unit, and they have changed the character of army. So they needed somebody who will be controlling the entire force. So in the end, we know that India's NSA actually wrote the bylaws, and that gave an extension of 3 years to the CDS, and that post was created. I think CDS post was created with General Rawat in mind. That's why after his death, it is not occupied by anybody. Right now, India has a Chairman Joint Chief of Staff Committee position, and that is filled by General Nirvane. But remember, when this post was created, I understand what our brother Fahd was saying about theatralization and jointness. But my concern right now is something else. I believe that at this moment, India's main transition hasn't started. They haven't actually created joint, forces so far. So this entire story is just a story, and it was created to placate one man. And there was another post that was created. That was a department was showed up from nothing. That was Department of Military, Affairs. And its secretary was a 4-star journal, that was General Rawat, and it controlled all the purse strings. Through that, they kept on controlling the armed forces because everything you needed would come through that channel. And because of that Pavlovian conditioning, I think that the armed forces of India were ruined, because then it became an exercise in placating Narendra Modi's ego. And you saw in 2019, this man, Rawat, actually helped Modi win the election as well. So in the coming days, I don't think that this post has any place. If you want to ask me about Pandey, let me quote a Punjabi joke which says, beta jada vi mar jaye tu nahi banta. Whosoever dies, you are not going to become that, because in Pakistan we had an experience of an engineering corps officer being thrust into the post of army chief. That was General Ziauddin Butt, and you saw that the entire system crashed, and then we had military rule for quite some time. It is not going to happen in India, but I think that engineering corps person being asked to head army, or for that matter, the entirety of armed forces, that is not going to happen in India either.
Okay, Faisal, do you agree with that? Because earlier you were saying Pandey is still in line.
To me, I think he's still in line. The only reason behind it is the way he has been serving. I mean, we all know that he's been making blunder after a blunder in the Eastern Command, and at the same time, he's been ignored. And there are, talks about in the town as well that he is being ignored for the only one reason that he has very good links within RSS. And earlier, obviously, Rohit was negating the factor, but I must say that if we are seeing BJP's government right now in the office, the only reason behind it is that it has the all needed support of RSS, and that's why we're not seeing BJP saying anything to RSS whenever they take the oaths against the Muslims or against the minorities, or they do anything against the cow vigilantes and all of that. Nothing is going against them. So to me, I think he's still in the run. But hey, Sana, there is a very important thing I wanted to highlight.
Right.
And with the highlight, I'll ask the question from Rohit. And why I wanted to highlight, we discussed about the theaterization of the commands. And we know that when Bipin Rawat was alive, he had a row with the previous air chief. I'm talking about Air Chief Bhaduria. Basically, what happened was Bhaduria protested against Bipin Rawat because he said to him that we are a separate force. We will never be working as one of your aviation corps or something like that. So don't treat us like one of your arms. We are a separate force. This is what he said at that time. And they had a proper row, and it actually came on media as well last year. To me, he was in the race as well to become CDS after Bipin Rawat. And there are certain hints that even General Narwane, he wanted former Air Chief Bhaduria to become CDS, but he was obviously given a shut up call just because of one reason, that this man, Air Chief Bhaduria, he had a very tough time with Bipin Rawat, and he did not accept his commands. So I think they are intentionally negating him, and this is the only reason that Narwane doesn't want to continue like this, because he calls it a political obviously post. And my question to Rohit is that if I'm wrong, the way he was obviously laughing at me, if I'm wrong, then he can give me a reason why Bhaduria can't be made a CDS.
Well, I was not laughing at you. I was just, what do you say? You should be in Walt Disney, imagination is too high. There, the imagination is needed the best. You said Narwane wanted Bhadoria. I mean, like a person, a junior, who wanted his boss to be a person of his choice. I don't know if it happens in Pakistan, but in India it never happens. Can I select my own boss? Who can do it? Anyways, if you said it and you have given much extreme details, unlike pinpoint accuracy, postcard-like details, so you must be correct. I don't know who has given you these details. You please talk to Prime Minister Modi. He'll be happy to talk to you because you know more than him. Now coming back to Bipin Rawat had a row with Bhadoria. Of course, he had it, but then what is? I mean, this is not Pakistan where one army chief can invade any country or send his army into any country and then tell the Air Force chief, yes, you can, you have to join. And Air Force chief said, no, I won't. Was it not at the time of Kargil? Was it not there? Both of your army chief and your Air Force.
Rohit, we're not the invaders. Invaders are the ones who are actually telling us that we are the invaders, because you were the ones who initially invaded obviously Kashmir. You need to remember that.
Is it?
And right now, when you should be going and invade certain places which are obviously kept by the Chinese, you're not doing it.
Actually, I was answering, my dear Faisal. Sometimes it happens when I talk to Faisal. Faisal is much more enthusiastic to answer. But then, coming back to the point, there are differences in between your army chief and your air chief also. I have quoted one reference, right? So why we can't have it? Now, one gentleman said, Modi needs control over army. Every Indian Prime Minister has a control over all the three chiefs, all the three services. Now, we have sacked our Navy chief, we have sacked our Air Force chief. What else do you need? Means we told our army chief to resign. It happens. So we
Rohit,
All right, let's
you have
also-
wrongly mentioned one thing, that my army chief and my air chief, they are having any differences with each other. I mean, you're very wrong about it.
Well, Faisal, let's give credit to Rohit for the fact that he finally saw some light today and agreed with us, and so he's coming around. So that's a good thing. Fahad, when we speak about, let's move on to Fahad. Rohit, we'll come back to you.
Tanaji, please allow
Yes,
me to
quickly,
answer
please.
all the points which you have mentioned, no? So
No,
this
no,
is,
absolutely,
like,
you
this
did.
is that
Right.
should be there, no?
Let's
Now,
also give a chance to the very patient man, Mr. Fahad, who's been waiting for a while. Now, I want to ask him what he just spoke about earlier with regards to the meta of the selection of the CDS. We'll come back to you, Rohit. Don't worry. So when we speak about that, there's obviously a concern that the ACC at the end of the day gets to confirm the position of the CDS as well. And this, of course, you're saying is going to happen for the first time, and so we'll have more clarity over what that is going to be like. But when we see what that ACC actually entails, are just two people with Modi and Amit Shah in it, which means that then actually all of what we're discussing earlier with regards to the RSS and the alignment with the Modi regime is actually there.
Well, that is one of the prime concerns that has always been there. If you look at the background of how Bipin Rawat came in as CDS, was his direct alignment there. But what is of importance to understand, and if we look in a sane manner, the district but Marshal Bhadoria and as well as Bipin Rawat
Fazal,
regarding the
sorry to cut you,
the
but
Air
earlier
Force
we
being an
lost you
arm
for a
of-
bit. Can you repeat what you were saying earlier, sir? Can you repeat what you were saying earlier?
Yes,
Because there was some saturation in the video and audio. We could not hear what you were saying. Please repeat yourself.
Okay, not a
From the
problem.
start.
I'll reiterate.
Yeah.
My point of view is the disagreement between Air Chief Marshal Bhadoria and General Bipin Rawat was a reality. But what is more important to understand is the long-term thing that is there. The Air Force has to have independence of operation for its maximum efficacy. That was displayed by the Pakistan Air Force on the 27th Feb 2019, which generated effect of a favorable air situation within the region of Kashmir within the time span that was required. And General Naravane has also mentioned this, that it will be a T20 every time when the two air forces or the armed forces come together in a clash situation. So it will be 24 to 48 hours that will be required for a skirmish to take place. Disengagement will be there. The Air Force, as I mentioned before, has to have operational independence. It needs to generate maximum effect within the minimum possible time. And as we've seen, the military deterrence as well as the political one was displayed, engaged, and ensured by the Pakistan Air Force on 27th Feb 2019. So Air Force is going to play a pivotal role within that domain. And I certainly believe Air Chief Marshal Bhadoria would be aptly placed to align this thought process within the Indian military system, that without centralized control and decentralized execution of the air power domain, this cannot take place. I would put my hands up for him to become the next CDS.
All right. When we see the situation that currently is what's going on in India with regards to the appointment of the CDS, Farooq, the important aspects that we're discussing right now also entail the fact that maybe perhaps this choice or this current scenario actually poses question marks on the entire nature of the way that the Indian Army actually functions, or the kind of political elements that are involved within the Army itself as well. A lot of that is going to be brought in the forefront as well. With regards to how this choice is going to affect the overall nature of the Indian Army, how do you think it's moving forward with the choice of the CDS? Is that going to go ahead?
Right, and I think that no matter what our friend from India says, I've seen repeated letters and articles from ex-Indian Army officers who are concerned about politicization of Indian Army, right? And that continues. There is a serious concern. Remember, if you want your army to be in a fighting shape, you have to keep it away from two things. That is very important, lessons of history. One, you have to keep it as much away from politics as possible. And by virtue of becoming a secretary of DMA, General Rawat actually became a political agent. The second important thing is from the religious indoctrination, especially with a country as diverse as India, which has a diverse force. Remember, while this whole thing was going on, this charade was going on, at that time, four soldiers and officers sitting in our Indian Army, Muslims, Sikhs and others witnessed umpteen interesting things. For example, what was going on the roads of Delhi, violence when Donald Trump was there, that was evident, and they knew that their religion was being targeted. Ex-army officers were declared non-citizens in Assam just because they were Muslims, right? Similarly, when the farmers' protest was going on, we saw the kind of invective that was used. These people come from the society, and what exactly must be going on in their hearts while their CDS was rooting for a government that was actually perverting democracy must be something that is beyond my imagination.
Right.
When it comes to the theater and jointness, my concern is, I totally get the biggest problem is India, especially when BJP first came to power, it created some fictions, and India has been going by that. One fiction was that old old start, cold start doctrine, right? Where they actually envisaged a jointness, and because of Kargil, it was further accentuated. I understand that India may take some time to deploy the full force, but I don't think closing 14, somewhere around 14 theater commands, and then asking them to reconstitute themselves into 6, 7, where you have joint leadership is going to work with a country as diverse, as big as India. This is something that might happen over decades. It won't happen over weeks, months, the way India's former CDS was trying to do it. My belief is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? At this moment, regarding General Nirvane also, I thought very highly of the military capacity of General Rawat, but then I told you that his ambition was his undoing. I think very highly of General Nirvane. It is said that if you want an enemy, you should be asking for an incompetent one. I don't believe that should be the case. I think that if you have a competent person on the other side, you will at least have some kind of fair fight. I think General Nirvane is a very capable man, and I honestly think that if they actually stick to their secular origins, Indian Army has a long way to go, and it can really progress. But that is not going to happen.
All right, before we conclude.
Very last
Yes.
question, a very interesting one from Rohit, obviously. Rohit, you might have gone through today's story that in Doklam, Bhutan, of course, Bhutan is such a country where its defense is actually responsibility of India, because India has ensured them that we will be defending you. Doklam, 2 of the villages are established by the Chinese, and Bhutan is actually claiming that it belongs to their land. What have you done about it? Did you do something about it to secure Bhutan?
Firstly, Sanaji, I'm not interested in any kind of a discussion which is taking place here. Your panelist, your Pakistani panelist speaks 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and when I start answering, I'm interrupted within 30 seconds, and then you move on to the Pakistani panelist again. If you want this
Not
kind
at
of a
all,
discussion,
Rohit, you have
please
your
do not-
time. I told you I'll come back to you, and we're here.
Rohit, floor
But
belongs to
then-
you. You can talk.
I could not answer 7 points last time around, and 2 more have come.
Okay, combine them
If
and
this kind
respond,
of a
please.
discussion, you please continue. It's your channel. You can speak as much time, as much. I mean, you can speak the entire day. You have 24 hours to speak.
This is only
Now
wasting
coming to the
time. Rohit,
point.
why don't you continue your stance? You have the floor now.
Last time around, I was interrupted from your studio, and I was not given the full opportunity to give answers to 3 panelists. So I need 3 times time. And then if once I'm interrupted, then you move on to the other panelist. You should have come back to me because my answer wasn't complete.
Rohit, my
Now that-
brother,
Fair enough,
I
Rohit.
understand
Rohit,
your
if you can
concerns.
continue.
Allow me just to say one thing. My dear friend, a journalist should never become a story. You have the floor. Please go ahead. No, you were responding to certain points, but the problem is they were not questions, they were opinions. But you are entitled to your views. Please do it. Let us not make ourselves stories here. Please go ahead.
But then you tried to make yourself a story when you intervened. Right.
I am not
now,
intervening.
Coming back
Please
to
go
the
ahead.
point.
Go ahead, Rohit.
No, my friend who looks like a twin to me, my Fazal intervened. Okay. Now, coming back to me, RSS centers and mandirs inside the Indian Army. Who gave you this information? Mandirs are there, even mosques are there, and Maulvis are recruited by the Indian Army. They are paid employees of Indian Army. Maulvis and even the padris, even the priests, even the Sikh Granthis, they are paid, they are regular employees of Indian Army. So whatever you're speaking, please mention the facts here. Now coming back to Modi, they helped Modi win the election. Can the army? Because we deploy paramilitary forces, not the army in our elections, right? This is not Pakistan where army chief decides the fate and the life and the age of an elected government. This happened with General Pervez Musharraf, but our government, Manmohan government, decided the age of the army chief VK Singh. Right? It happens in India only. We are a democracy, and we tell the army, we order the army, and army follows. Army never dictates us. Now coming back to General Pandey is doing blunder after blunder in the Eastern Command. Who gave you this latest information and inside information? Because he has very good links. He is not being told. Our army is a professional army. We sack the army chief. We have already told one army chief to retire before the date because his date was fishy and he went to the court. But then even he was told to retire. Right now, coming back to the oaths of against Muslims, cow vigilantes. What is army? Has army given any single statement on it? If you have the information that General Naware called you and told you, that's fine. Otherwise,
I said about BJP.
No,
I
no,
said about
Rawat did. Rawat did. General Rawat did.
Rawat did talk about it.
Particularly about the protesters at Shaheen Bagh, and he
Right.
also talked
Exactly.
about the farmer protest as well.
Let me complete and then you can put up for questions.
Yeah, yeah.
General
Please,
Rawat's death was done by General Rawat was murdered by cow vigilantes. I can accept your point. Now coming back to the point, you said there was violence when Trump was there. Assam and farmers. Is it connected to army? Did the army respond on it? Any statement by anybody? Now. And one very good comment by a gentleman. He said the army should not be politicized. This comment is coming from a country where army chief is going and discussing the matters directly with the opposition leaders.
What
So
about
learn
Doklam?
something. So learn something.
Army
You have,
Army chief
must you make all the mistakes
Rohit-
on your own? Learn from other people's mistakes.
I think Mr. Fahad also wants to
Rohit,
add something.
I'm still waiting for Doklam.
I'll give you the answer. Now I've told you I'm not interested. When let me finish it off and then you can ask. Your sitting army chief, sitting president General Musharraf contested elections. Is it or not?
So that
he had
was
a
wrong.
party of his own.
So that
He
was
was
wrong.
the sitting army.
So that
Which
was
army is
wrong. Learn
politicized?
from our mistakes.
No. Which army? If your army is politicized, your army. Some days back, your army chief had a discussion with the opposition leaders. What is the job of the army chief to have discussions? What is your defense minister
Who
doing?
tells you that?
What is the job of the defense minister? future.
Rohit, don't rely upon the YouTube channels of Pakistanis.
Or probably the same
No,
sources
Indians
he's
for that
claiming us
matter.
to
For
go at.
Indians as
Yes,
well, yeah.
absolutely. Rohit, unfortunately, we're almost out of time. I'm so
Rohit
sorry.
Doklam.
You'll have, okay, I'll give you 1 more minute to finish your stance. I'll have to
Doklam.
go to Mr. Fahd now. Okay, you have a minute.
Now this Doklam, two villages have been, and there was a news that they have established 15, 16 villages in Arunachal Pradesh. China has denied it. Pakistan is accepting it. I'm proud of Pakistanis.
Bhutan is saying that, and you have taken the responsibility of defending them. Bhutan
I
is
have
shouting out
mentioned
loud.
China has denied it. Rahul Gandhi said that, and Rahul Gandhi is now
All
defending
right,
his
all right.
statement.
You're being
Let's go to
unfair
Mr.
to
Fahad.
Fahad. Let's go to Fahad.
I'm sorry you have been waiting to say add something to the conversation.
Fahad.
Go ahead.
Yes, well, there has to be a methodology to this madness. We need to understand that the
Absolutely.
paradigm of coexistence has to be generated within discussions. Our friend from other side of the border has to be given time, but under the limited pretext of the minutes available, I certainly believe, Rohit, you've done a bang-up job in putting your points through. Obviously, there is always the other side of the coin. And as correctly mentioned by Faisal as well as the hosts, do not believe on everything that comes across to you on the YouTube channels. We need to learn to read between the lines. Under the time of where we are right now, and the point that we need to discuss is the Chief of Defense Staff. So considering the aspects, air power is primary, the ideology is number two. We need to ensure that we get the correct man in the correct slot. I certainly believe the correct individual will be chosen irrespective of rank and service. But I also understand that there are limitations to every system. The limitation within the Indian domain right now is the alignment of the belief system with the BJP and the RSS. So that saber rattling thought has to be there, without which the continuity of a few things may not take place, especially the theater commands that were pushed up by Bipin Rawat himself. So I certainly believe that is the way forward.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Fahd Masood and Rohit Sharma, for joining us for this segment. We're almost out of time to talk about the CDS. Perhaps this is something that we'll have to continue again in another program, especially when Rohit is joining us once again. We'll now move on to what we discussed yesterday with regards to the mini budget that is now currently being discussed in the National Assembly. And this, of course, is an important move forward for the PTI government in order to take things forward. Whether or not we're going to have that and the kind of political uncertainty surrounding that is what is going to come under discussion. We're hopefully going to be joined soon by Barrister Iftikhar Ahmed, who's a former senator and a lawyer. Till he joins us, Farooq, when we've discussed the situation yesterday in the Senate and now looking at what's going on in the National Assembly, do you think that the opposition have what they claim in terms of support from allies within the PTI government as well to oppose this bill?
Right. First of all, let me ask you, request you actually. If I get too abstract, you can stop me anytime because I have this a habit of being expansive, right? But regarding what is happening right now is, as I told you, that this bill, one way or the other, will pass. That is going to happen because we are not talking about commitment of a government, we are talking about commitments of a state. But regarding what was happening today, what was happening in media as well, the kind of fetish our media has with the idea of bringing down democracy,
right.
I think I was really frustrated. I think the guest has joined. Please go ahead to
We've
him.
been joined by Barrister Iftikhar Ahmed, who's a former senator and a lawyer. Thank you very much, Mr. Barrister Iftikhar Ahmed, for being with us on the debate and also waiting to join the segment. With regards to what is now currently being discussed in the National Assembly and, of course, the mini budget, first of all, I would like you to shed light on the worth of this mini budget in terms of putting forward the economic situation of the country, whether or not this was the best choice that the government had.
Well, obviously, it was the best choice. It was the most vital stage in our economy's history. Well, how can a country be run without aid, without IMF funding or World Bank funding, if we do not pay taxes, if we do not produce oil, if we do not produce gold, if we do not produce any resource which can, run the economy of the country? It has to rely on the taxation from the people. Government is just a body of people who are there to run the state. Now, they don't bring money from somewhere. They don't pay their own money into it. They can't run countries like that. Country has to have some source of income. And all civilized democracies and other countries in the world rely on taxation. From the people pay the money to get their hospitals, their roads, their electricity, their gas, and everything else. If they don't pay taxes, if they do not take part in raising the level of the exchequer, then obviously government has to go elsewhere to get money. Now, how will and why will anyone give money to Pakistan if they do not tighten their belt, if they are not ready to pay taxes? Now, the most important thing that I learned today from the debate was, as the finance minister said very clearly, that this is not about taxes. This is about the documentation of the economy. And I know quite personally that this exercise was carried out during the period of Shaukat Aziz as well. When forms were sent, and I received the form on my door by the tax people saying, kindly fill this up. On one side it had the expenses, on the other side it had the income. And if it never matched, then you are in a thick soup. And that's exactly what people don't want. They don't want to be documented how they are being documented. For instance, if there is sales tax on some item, the shopkeeper takes the sales tax and passes on to the government. But equally, that shopkeeper has been registered as a taxpayer, which he was not before. That's why there's hue and cry. That's why the demagoguery of the opposition politicians is confusing the people. We have to have dictates from the IMF if we are getting money from them. Imagine any day-to-day life instances. For instance, if I borrow 100,000 rupees from you, and I say I need them for my vital needs, and you see me spending them lavishly elsewhere the next day, you would say, for heaven's sake, I gave it to you for another purpose. That's where the tightening of the belt comes from the lenders. And there's nothing wrong in this. Now, we have to have our house in order first. And I think there was a need, a vital need, and it was an agreement. You can't just run away just because the opposition and the parliament says, no, we will not allow the IMF to have their dictates. Then, okay, then get hold of all these rogues who have plundered this country, looted the money, take it from them. And I bet they have much more than what IMF is giving to us.
And of course, when we see the kind of role that the opposition parties currently are playing, we see that they are bringing to light a lot of the issues with regards to the current price hike or inflation or what the people at large are suffering, and sort of using that as a measure to put forward their own stances. Do you think that this kind of support that the opposition keeps talking about with regards to the problems of the people is there? And will they be able to achieve the kind of things that they're talking about with regards to toppling the government, with regards to using all options available to put the government away? Also, no confidence motion.
And Barrister Saab, one more question. Do you really think that the opposition really cares about the common man on the street? Because so far I haven't seen any evidence of them agitating for the people on the street, sir.
Yes, I mean, there couldn't be more sillier an approach than what the opposition, in my view, is taking. They think it's all about numbers. I mean, they jubilate and huddle around to think and calculate, oh, can this bill be defeated? If they don't realize, they don't tell the public that if a money bill is lost by a government, the government has to resign in any democracy. Now, that won't happen. And that will not happen in the sense that You have been doing this in the past yourselves. This is not the first time this government is taking money from IMF. It has been the pattern of Pakistani governments because, in true sense of the word, we have not been adjusting our priorities rightly. Confusing the people is, as Mr. Padafi is saying, is absolutely ominous. It's seen by everybody that they're playing to the gallery, and it is not working because people cannot be confused when they're told that the tax is being levied on the children's milk. It's not that milk that children use in the length and breadth of this country. It is that imported stuff that comes from Switzerland or elsewhere, which only the rich people enjoy. But all this is a facade. All this is a fake opposition to the real issues. The real issue is exactly that nobody wants to be documented. They don't want to pay taxes. How can you expect from this kind of opposition who's facing corruption charges and accountability allegations and money laundering allegations to talk about people being ruined by this mini budget, whatever they call it? This is utter, it's a laughing matter, completely laughing matter. But people, to be honest, the people are not foolish anymore. They understand quite clearly as to all this is what is happening what is being done by the opposition.
Sir, do you really think that the people at large actually does understand that? Do you think the majority does realize that that's what's going on?
Well, you see, the high prices are faced by people without doubt. There's no question. You cannot say and close your eyes. What people have to be told and made to understand that this is it. We are, not only we, the whole world. I just came from London. Honestly, everything is doubled. I take my car for a wash. I used to get it done for £10. I give him 20, he's looking at my face, and I'm looking at his face. Only then I realized that the price has doubled. The man who washes the car with his own hands, just because the pandemic had locked down all over the world. Economies had gone down. UK declared officially that they are in recession last year.
Right. Thank you so much, Barrister Iftikhar Ahmed, for being with us. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but thank you so much for those words and helping us understand what really is going on in terms of the bill and, of course, the role the opposition parties have been playing and what the larger public needs to understand as to what the government is doing. A lot of what we see on the media may not be true, so it's, of course, important for us to be able to also really analyze and think about the kind of things that we're reading or consuming or listening to. So whenever we need to comment on something, perhaps we need to know about it as well. Perhaps a lot of us actually don't really know what the mini budget really is. So go ahead and check that out and then form your own opinion. And of course, watch our show because we'll give you all perspectives on it as well. Thank you so much. Stay tuned.